Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today's topic, we're going to dive into how to get a work permit. You have been asking me, so how can I like some of you, like you have probably you get a tourist visa and you're asking, can you turn your tourist visa into a working visa, something like that. So you're wondering if you came to visit in Luxembourg, are you able to turn that visitation into a working kind of like situation. So I'm going to talk about how that is possible and what of the procedures that you need to do to get done with. We're going to look at how to apply for a work permit, how to get a work permit through using the job and visa sponsorship, how an organization or an employer can sponsor your work permit. Some of the first things that you need to know is that as a third country national who is in Luxembourg for less than 3 months and wishes to work during this period must have a work permit. So for you to, let's say you come to Luxembourg as a visitor, definitely the maximum length of time that you can be in Luxembourg is 3 months. So most likely you get like a tourist visa, which will last for probably, which is 3 months. So within those 3 months, you can if you have a job, you're able to work, but you need a work permit in order to be able to work in. This is what it needs to be done. All third country nationals, i.e. nationals from any country that is not part of the EU, you require a work permit if you wish to carry out a paid activity during a stay of less than 3 months, including people who can still come to Luxembourg from any of those third country nationals and can work without a work permit. So some of them, these are the exemptions. Staff from fairground attractions, circuses and other traveling establishments, workers in entertainment industry without regular employment. Then we have the athletes, invited researchers, conference speakers and university lecturers, persons on bonus trips, all persons providing services excluding any work carried out in the framework of subcontracting. So these categories are able to come to Luxembourg and work without needing a work. Now, the application for a work permit must be submitted by the third country national. However, they may appoint a third party, such as the future employer, to carry out the necessary procedures. So in case you're here and you've gotten the job, but you prefer your employer to go ahead and apply for the work permit, you can give them the power of attorney to do that. And then also you need to note that all third country nationals who are family members of an EU citizen or of a national of a country treated as such, as well as third country nationals with the temporary authorizations to stay or reside or with the residence permit, these people do not need a work permit to carry out paid activity. So for example, like me, I am married to an EU citizen, so I have a residence permit of a family member. So I don't need to have a work permit to work in Luxembourg. So because I'm attached to an EU citizen, I'm automatically able to work without any need for a work permit. So if you're out there and probably you're maybe married to a third country national, you don't need to worry about acquiring it. So let's go to what is needed for you to apply for the work permit. So you remember, you've come to Luxembourg and you're on a tourist visa. So somehow you want to apply for a job, and then you've gotten the job most likely. So now you need to get a work permit. So before submitting the work permit application, the non-EU national must meet the conditions regarding a short stay visa. So the first thing you need to hold a valid travel document, so which is a passport, and then also where applicable, that is if you need a visa. So that's like for someone who is coming in as a tourist, so you need a visa. So one thing you should note, and this is on the employer side, before the employer thinks of hiring a third country national, they need to declare the vacant position to the National Agency of Employment. That is, it's a short form, they call it ADIM. So in Luxembourg, we have this organization that caters for people who are unemployed. It's their job is to find jobs for people within Luxembourg. So for example, if you're fired from your job, or if you already have your residence permit, like for example, me, I'm here looking for a job, I can't find a job, I have that organization, I can go to them and give them my CV, so they can help me like find, it's like an agency of sorts, and it's not like an agency of sorts, it's an agency that recruits for organizations within Luxembourg. So this is it's a national organization. So before any employer, because all the employers need to go to them and let them know that they are seeking for this type of the employees that they are seeking for, they have these positions and they want people. So these guys, this organization works hand in hand with different employers within Luxembourg. So if the employer is looking for for people, they just go to them, and these guys will be able to give the employers the people to work there. So if in case an employer would want to recruit outside of Luxembourg, then they need to let the ADIM people know that like there's this vacant position and we need someone, they need to let the ADIM people know. Note that before an employer thinks of hiring a third country national, the first thing is that they need to declare the vacant position to the National Employment Agency, which is in bracket, they call it ADIM. This ADIM, the purpose of the ADIM is to find jobs for people within Luxembourg or within the European market. So in case an employer wants to hire out of Luxembourg, they need to first declare this vacant position to the ADIM. Then the ADIM guys have to check within themselves, and if within 3 weeks they are not able to find someone who can fit this position for this employer, then they will request the employer to apply for a certificate. And that certificate gives the employer permission to hire out of Luxembourg. That same certificate is the one that the employer, when let's say now you have applied for the job, you have gotten the job, then the employer will have to give you that original certificate that they got from the ADIM guys. And that certificate is, you have to use that certificate when you're applying for. Another thing that you should know, that an employer hiring a third country national worker must request to see the worker's work permit before beginning the working relationship. Request a copy of the worker's work permit and keep said copy for the whole duration of the contract. Notify the beginning of work to the Ministry of Home Affairs within 3 working days from the first day of the work. Employers who are illegally employing one or more positions, people from third country nationals illegally, these people will face administrative or criminal sanctions. Now that you've understood what the employer has to do before thinking of hiring you, now we're going to look at the steps. What's the process to finally get the work permit. So let's go through this one more time. So you have come to Luxembourg and you have a tourist visa, good. You have applied for a job and you've gotten the job, good. So now you have the job ready, but now you need a work permit. So you have to go, the next step is now to apply for the work permit. So what do you need to do, and what's the process what do you need for you to acquire this work permit, which is what we are going to talk about now. So the first thing that you should know, that third country nationals must apply for a work permit before commencing any work in Luxembourg. So even if you have gotten the job, but for you to be able to start working, you need to have a work permit that gives you permission to work in Luxembourg. So this is what you need to do. So all applicants must send their application for a work permit on plain paper to the General Department of Immigration. They must state their identity, that is the surname and the first name, as well as the exact address in their country of residence, and add the following documents to their application. So this is the documents that you need to add. A copy of their valid passport in its entirety, a CV, a copy of their diplomas or professional qualifications, a copy of the employment contract complaint with Luxembourg labor law dated and signed by both the applicant and the employer. So we assume now you've gotten the job, so you have the employment contract. You need to have that as well. Then the original certificate from the ADIM's director granting the employer the right to hire a third country national. So remember, we talked about that certificate that the employer needs to apply for, granting them permission to hire you. Then where necessary, a power of attorney. That is, if for example, you give your employer the authority to apply for. Those are the documents that you need to attach And one thing you should also notice that there are 3 languages. As we always know, the 3 main languages in Luxembourg are the German, French, and English. So your documents have to be written in those languages. If they are not drawn in those languages, then you need to get a translator to translate your documents to these 3 languages. And also only completed applications will be processed. If your document is not, if your application is not complete, you're missing maybe some documents on here and there, that will not be processed, so which will make it take it very much longer. So you need to make sure you cross-check your documents and ensure that everything that they request for is response from the ministry. It takes about 3 months to 2 to 3 months for them to respond to you. It depends on, if your documents are in order and everything is just straightforward, and maybe your organization can even push further, so it can come back much earlier. But in most cases, the time frame is about 3 months, which takes for them to respond. Your work application has been approved. In most cases, they send it to you through post, or if your organization is applying for you, they'll send it to your organization's address, and then you can get into Luxembourg. Another thing that you should notice is that when entering Luxembourg territory, third country nationals must hold a passport and, where applicable, a visa, and carry out the procedures required for a short-term stay. So now I need to come back to this point whereby many of you were asking if you come here as a tourist. So you're here as a tourist and you have 3 months. You only have 3 months to live, because in order for you to be able to apply for this visa, you need to apply for the work permit. You need to have a valid visa that authorizing you to be within Luxembourg. So now some of you were saying you want to come with the tourist visa and then you apply for a job, and then which I said is you come to Luxembourg with your 3-month visa, and then you get the job. And then let's say the organization is not helping you in the process of applying for your work permit, and as I've stated, that the work permit for the ministry to get back to you, it will take probably 2 to 3 months. So don't you think by 3 months' time your visa will have expired? So if your visa has expired, then you need to apply again. You need to apply again for another visa, because you cannot work if you don't have the visa. You cannot commence work if you don't have the work permit, and you cannot live in Luxembourg if you don't have a valid visa. So I would think the best thing would be, you can come and start the process, and then you need to probably go back to your country, and then as you wait, or what would be best for you, the best option, maybe if the organization has hired you, then maybe it would be best for you to authorize your employer to apply for the work permit. I think that would be much simpler than you doing it yourself, because in case your visa expires and then you have to now go back to Uganda and stuff like that. I hope this really answers this question, because many people have really been asking me about, can I come to Luxembourg with a tourist visa and apply for the job? And the answer, in my opinion, I think the best way would be you apply for the job when you're still back in your country, in your home country. And then if you get the job, and then you have to give your employer the authority to apply for the work visa on your behalf, So let the organization do everything. And when they're done, and then they will let you know, and then you can come into Luxembourg, because then there you have to now apply for if you have a work permit, then you can apply for the short stay visa, and then you come here. So in my opinion, I think that would be the easiest. I really do hope this answers that question. I just felt like I should maybe talk about it, and I will leave a link so you could go read further on how to go about this. But this is what you should do if you are willing. If you want to come and work in Luxembourg and you want the organization to sponsor your visa, this is what you need. That is it for today, and thank you so much for watching. And for those who have subscribed already to my channel, thank you much for subscribing. I really appreciate you guys. And for those who haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe, share, comment, let's grow my channel. And that's it. Bye.